What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Real Talk with Blanco. Today we have a special guest. I'm gonna let her introduce herself, and then we're gonna get right into the interview. Make sure that you guys leave us likes, comments, and subscribe. Okay?
Hi, my name is Alexis Irene Chavez, also known as Madrina Dawn. I am a rising scholar student at West LA College.
That's right, Rising Scholars. I know
Yeah.
that's right. So we're gonna get a little bit comfortable because
Okay.
we're just chilling, having girl talk, homegirl talk.
Yeah.
So for the people that don't know you, Alexis, let's start off where'd you grow up at?
Well, I grew up in Pacoima.
Okay.
However, you know that there's a lot of people that get bussed in from the valley to back in the 80s, people were getting bussed in from the valley over there. So
Uh-huh.
I met some people, some kids that used to live out here.
Okay.
So it's like I grew up in Pacoima, mainly with tios, but I would hang out here.
Okay, so
during
you would
my,
come out here
I would
to
come.
LA. That's like a whole different area, I feel like, because I feel like LA kids and Pacoima kids or like around that area is just a different vibe. Did you realize that? Like,
Oh yes, because let me tell you, being a Chicana,
uh-huh.
okay, I'm mixed because I have Cuban and
Okay.
Mexican. So when I was younger, I had a lot of like Cuban features, and
Okay.
a lot of people would pick on me. Let me tell you, in Pacoima, it's like the black people here,
Okay.
the Chicanos here, the white people.
It was
here.
very segregated.
Very segregated. It's
Okay.
not a cohesive society. In
Yeah.
Pacoima.
Yeah.
Especially in the 80s during the gangs, it was really bad.
Yeah, I could just picture that. I'm a 90s baby. So, growing up when I used to go to school in the valley, I grew up in school where it was segregated. We did not have, I couldn't talk to other races. That was uncommon for
Yeah.
me. So, I could just imagine what that was like in the 80s. So, taking it back a little bit, Alexis, what was your like household like growing up?
It was I had a mom,
Okay.
single mom. My dad wasn't present. My tia, which was she wasn't. A lot of kids used to tease me and be like, "Oh, you're lesbian moms," and I'm like,
Oh, okay, okay.
"Stupid! They're sisters,
Uh-huh.
but big, kids."
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So,
Kids being kids.
I grew up around a bunch of uncles that were active,
Okay.
and cousins,
Okay.
and some primas.
Okay.
But mainly it was the boys.
It was boys. It was mainly
It was
boy
mainly
family.
boy family. And
Okay.
it was very difficult because I had to either follow their stride
Uh-huh.
or be my own person.
Okay.
And so I decided to be my own person. It was very difficult because I had to pretend to be somebody I wasn't.
Okay. I can
And
feel that.
I didn't feel safe around them because they had a very destructive mindset.
Okay. Do you feel like as a kid you were able to deflect that? Like something is wrong here? Or do you think you learned that as you grew up?
I feel a little bit of both.
Okay.
Certain things I would deflect. Other things I would learn as I grow. As like with my tios, I learned not to open myself up so much about
Okay.
certain things.
I can agree with that because I feel like my dad was very like that. My dad was very strong, He was very can't show weakness. You can't be vulnerable. You have to be strong. You can't let these people see your weakness. So I could relate to you in that aspect of having to, I don't want to say pretend because I don't think I pretend, but I feel like it was a mask for
Yes.
so long. Like I can't be emotional. I can't be vulnerable. I can't show love. You know how like people tell you like, well, on the movie from 50 Cents, how he says don't show love because love can get you killed.
Yeah.
I felt that for so long. I felt like I couldn't be vulnerable with my parents because my parents were not vulnerable. I wasn't in a vulnerable home. So I had to kind of be strong and kind of look at it in a different way, So I can kind of relate to you on that aspect.
See, I don't know who was worse, either my mom or my tios, because my mom was like, "You gotta get up and go to school. You gotta go to school." I was a good kid until like I hit maybe 11.
Okay.
11, when I hit 11, when I started hanging around with the wrong crowds. And then I was like, I met my friend that she lived over here, and she had a brother that I kind of had a crush on. So I would take the 420 all the way from Pacoima down
Just
here.
to kick it right here.
Just to kick it over here. Just to kick it over here in Hollywood, off of Hollywood and Las Palmas. And I was just like, okay. He was an active member.
Okay.
Of and being around that, I felt I can embody myself.
Okay.
I could be the strong mujer that I knew I was without being judged. Because with my mom or with my family, it was very like, you have to do this, you have to do that.
Yeah.
My tios were
It's
like
like a controlling environment, you feel like?
very controlling.
Okay.
It was a very like perfectionist. You have to either, if you're not first place, you're not then.
Yeah. I feel like that's like a Hispanic heritage thing though, because we grew up like that as well. You know, we're three in my family. So us, it was like you're one, you're one, you're one. You're not one, two, and three. You know, you are number one. You are number one wherever you go. You know, so I always had that mindset, and I feel like now I still portray that mindset sometimes too. And I think that's why it's gotten me where I am now, because I'm very determined.
That's
like
right.
I'm number one, and I'm gonna get it, and that's how I'm gonna go about it, and that's where it's gonna take me. You know?
I agree with you because that's where I'm at now.
Okay,
I just turned
good.
52 years. 2 weeks ago. So
Happy
I'm
late
thank
birthday.
you so much.
You're
Este,
welcome.
and at 50, I'm enrolled in school. I'm going to get my my high school diploma.
Okay.
Thanks to to Playa Vista jobs.
So you didn't finish school?
No, I didn't. Now
Okay.
going back to the youth, that what happened is that I kind of like I went in up to maybe like I think it was like 10th, 11th grade.
Okay.
And then I just
So you were almost there.
I was almost there. What happened is that I stopped going to private school.
Okay.
And then it's a big difference between
Private and public?
Public, because in public it's different kids in different classes.
Yeah.
In Mary Immaculate, it's like the same set of kids for like 10 years,
Okay.
almost, since
Okay.
pre-K up to
Yeah.
8th grade. And you share moments, people don't understand. It's not just like, the same kids over and over. It's like, these are kids that you do your confirmation with, that
Yeah.
you did your first communion with, because us as Católicos, as, as Chicanos, as Latinos,
Yeah,
or however
yeah.
you want to put it, that's part of our tradition. Mm-hmm. And so when I went to public school, I was like, oh.
You were able to wild out a little bit?
I was like, what's this? This is what I've been missing.
She said, this is a whole new world.
Yes, even though I had been exposed to it at home because of my uncles
Yeah.
and my cousins, but they were more like, how do you say, F-ups. They didn't do things right.
Yeah.
They were messy.
Okay.
Messy people don't ever prosper.
Yeah.
If you're going to do something, clean yourself up.
Yeah.
Make sure you tidy stuff up.
Take accountability of where you're wrong in life.
Exactly. And a lot of those guys haven't taken accountability.
Okay.
A few have passed away. I feel that being who I was back then, it's like, oh my God, I can be who I want to be.
You felt free.
I felt free. I started hanging out with different kids. I started experimenting and like smoking.
Okay.
Oh, girl, my mama caught me smoking across the street.
Oh my God.
One time she came and she just smacked the crap out of me. She was like, she had a 69 Rally Sport Camaro. I saw that motherfucker just go, excuse me, that it just spin around. And I just saw her and I was like, oh my God. And I gave the girl, my friend, like, the cigarette. And she was holding it. And then my mom saw, you want to smoke? Okay, cabrona, you're going to smoke. She slapped me. Took me home. Girl, she bought a carton of Marlboro Reds. She sat me at that table and she made me smoke every single last cigarette.
What? And how old were you around this age?
I was like around 11, 12, yeah. Because
Oh my
I got skipped a grade. So
Okay.
that's why I got to, my mom always tried to put me in this bubble. But let me tell you, for the people that are listening,
Yeah.
Future parents, you put your kids in a bubble, that's fine. Make sure that you're there to monitor them when they're out of that bubble.
Yeah.
I'm not saying my mom didn't, because my mom was there. She gave me everything. She worked 2 jobs. So did my tia.
Yeah.
They both worked 2 jobs. I didn't know what poverty was
Okay.
until I was older, and I looked back at, oh my God, they fucking did this. Excuse me.
Yeah.
They really did this. Oh my God, the sacrifices that they made.
You were able to reflect on what they were doing for you.
Because of being exposed to the world.
Yeah.
I started hanging out with with my homegirl. And then I started coming out to Hollywood more. And then I heard about the arena. Oh, that was the playground right there. Because that was an all ages club.
Okay.
It used to be on Santa Monica, and I think it was Cherokee or Long Prairie.
Okay.
Entre esos. And it was an all ages club, and they had drag shows.
Okay.
And I was like,
I was just telling them I have never been to a drag show.
oh, girl, you gotta go to one. You've got to go to one. I definitely recommend Hamburger Mary's because they have
She said that.
They have the bombest brunch, and I recommend the one in Long Beach because the queens over here are tired.
Okay.
Just there, you'll have an okay show, but they'll be like walking around you. They want their money, and it's
Oh,
like,
okay.
and you're like, I'll tip you when I want to tip you, girl. You know, if I feel
It's
like
not welcoming. You feel like it's not welcoming?
Like
okay.
they're very like, it reminds me of a lady that she was like, you gonna tip me? You gonna tip me? So anyways.
Okay.
Yeah.
I could tell the vibe just from what you're saying. Okay.
And so then I was like, oh my God, this really reflected on how I had been feeling this whole time inside. It opened my eyes to the doorways to
start your own journey, you feel like?
I did.
So for people that don't know, can you explain a little bit of what the arena is like or what it was like before?
The arena before was an all ages club, and it used to be a gay club.
Okay.
A gay, bisexual, heterosexual club. All ages, all are welcome. And it used to be basically a playground for everybody, all the kids in high school. During the 80s and 90s, it was hard house music, mija. And it was like, dun, dun, dun. That was time to go out and dance. Yeah, because it was time to go out, dance. You're like, dance. Then you're out.
So you felt free when you would go to these places?
Yes, mija. I felt so free. I didn't feel like I had to put up a front.
Yeah.
I mean, I've always been a strong person, but I didn't feel like I had to put up a front of being a mask, like you said.
Yeah.
Portraying a paper that un papel.
Wasn't, yeah.
Enacting someone that I wasn't. And then I saw the drag queen shows, and I saw the performing, I saw the club kids, and I told Lisa, I go, hey, you know what, I feel like this in this type of way. And she was like, oh, why didn't you tell me before, And so then from there, she started letting me use her clothes,
Around what age were you?
Like 11, 12.
You were still around 11, 12 when you started?
Because it was like we were still in junior high.
Okay.
So it was like 11, 12, like around 12, 13, I started more.
Like middle school.
More. Like middle school, like 12, 13 is when I really started I started performing at the arena.
Okay.
So
you ended up getting a job there?
Yeah, you get like $30 for doing a show.
Okay.
There's nothing. So it's not like something formal. It's whoever shows up or calls first and says, I want to do a show. And if you get popularity, then, or if you know the one that's the MC who's running the show,
then you would get plugged in.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I knew all the people because of Lisa. Entonces, it was really an experience I'll never forget when I put on that dress and that makeup. And
so walk me through your first time. Walk me through the first time that you were like, okay, this is it. I'm tired of being a man.
Yeah.
I want to go into this world that women live in. I want to go into this world that I see these girls with hair, makeup, clothes. What was your step into that?
See, my first step began way when I was 4 because I never identified as a man. Never.
When you were 4?
Yeah. I never identified as a man because I always felt misplaced when I was called by my male or by my dead name.
Okay.
When everyone would call me Josh, it would make me cringe, like you guys say nowadays. I never identified. I always gravitated towards female things. It's just I would play dress up. When my mom wasn't home, I grab her stuff and I put it on. So I had always been doing that.
Did they ever catch you?
Yeah, my mom caught me quite a few times, and I got my butt beat quite a few times, but I didn't care. Because it was worth it.
You felt right.
It was worth it. I knew, but you know what? I kind of timed it because of the Camaro. I would hear the exhaust pipe. So I would take off everything.
So you would run and take off and go back into your pretend mode,
right? Pretend mode, yeah. But when I finally saw that I could do it, I hit puberty kind of quick. So I had very hairy legs.
Okay.
The first thing that I shaved off was my
Where's
hair.
your legs?
Once I saw that my legs were smooth and that my body was smooth, I was like, I felt the femininity
Okay.
flowing.
Okay.
I no longer felt like I had to pretend to be somebody I wasn't.
Okay.
When I started to put on the makeup, because nobody taught me how to do makeup.
Yeah,
I did it
yeah,
on
yeah.
my own. So like, she's like, no, I'll do it. No, let me do it. I seen everybody
You
else do it.
wanted to. You wanted. What I'm getting is like you wanted to walk your own experience
Yes,
through it.
I
You
didn't
didn't
want-
want people to give it to you or
No.
show you how to.
I wanted to do it myself. I wanted to pick out the boots. I wanted to pick out the skirt, and I wanted to pick out the makeup. And it's so what if it was too light? I don't care. I'll learn. I'll
Yeah.
get the next color. And if it's too dark, then guess what? F it. I'll blend them both,
You'll
and then we
learn.
can make it. You know. And
She
do
said,
it.
"I will make it work one way
was-
or another."
When I got on that stage, mija, and they did the song that they did, and I was finished, and the applause, and then they're like, yeah. I was like, this is me. I don't have to be on stage, but this is me because I felt acceptance.
Okay.
They applauded my beauty that I had always embraced within
Yeah,
myself.
yeah, yeah. Within yourself.
Yeah.
So you felt like I can accept myself since the crowd is accepting me. That's what you felt.
Exactly. And since then, I am, at that age, I was like 12, like maybe already at 12, 13. I started like, I would take my friend's sister's birth control pills.
Oh my God.
I would take her birth control pills, and I started to grow boobs. Like
So
I'm
that
like,
was the effect of it from you taking it.
yeah. And my mom found out because she was like, she saw, because she was very like, ¿por qué te vas a ir otra vez el viernes? It's because I have homework. Yeah, you always have homework. You haven't. One time.
There's always an excuse for you to go out,
yeah,
type of thing.
Always. And because I was always academically on top of everything.
Okay.
Up until like that time, when I really got into who I was,
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, you know what?
You
I
didn't
don't
care no more.
I didn't care no more because I couldn't be who I wanted to be freely.
Mm-hmm.
So why should I care about being who everyone else expects me to be?
Yeah.
And it's sad because it shifted my life in a different direction. But I learned from it
Yeah.
because you learn how to be strong.
Mm-hmm.
You learn how to survive. You learn how to for those who are, given everything and you're embraced by your parents and you're in this bubble. You really learn how people are in this life.
No,
because-
yeah. Agree.
Because
Agree.
la gente no es como, people aren't how they seem. A lot
Yeah.
of people will come with you with bad intentions. And
Mm-hmm.
I was very well loved by Lisa and her brother. So
Okay.
finally he saw me.
Uh-huh.
He went to the arena, he saw me in that. And so I told her, hey, I like your brother. And he was older than us. He was about 18, 19.
Okay, he was older.
He was
You
older.
were young then when you started liking him then, because you were like 11, 12,
Yeah.
right?
11, 12, and then
And how long were you with this? Did you end up
Yeah.
dating him?
I ended up dating him for 4 years. Being around them so much, it's like my mom was always working, so was my tia, and I was a latchkey kid. I'm not saying that they weren't there; they were there.
Yeah.
Because it's their Friday, Saturday, and Sunday they were there, but it's like that's when I wasn't there.
Yeah. You're like, well, I'm not here
I'm
at
not
home,
here.
so
Peace,
I gotta
girl.
go.
I gotta go. I got a project to work on.
Yeah.
The project was, but
You.
me.
The project was you,
Me,
definitely from beginning was
until
you.
she found out. We used to have a 2-story townhouse, and we used to have like the balcony,
Mm-hmm.
and so I would like go over the balcony and just just hop down because it wasn't that big, you know.
Yeah.
And this was in Panorama City, and so then I threw the bag down, and when I hopped down, she was waiting there. Oh my God!
She already knew you. She already knew your program. She already knew how you were moving. And what did you have in the backpack? Clothes.
I had my wig, I had my dress, I had my
my
heels,
God.
I had makeup. She got the bag and she was, where are you going? I'm chingados, her mom said.
Yeah.
And I'm like, voy a salir, with my friend, voy a quedarme a su casa. Pero ¿por qué a estas horas? I'm like, because, they're going to be, you're not old enough to be leaving at this age. Well, if you wouldn't have grounded me, lady, I wouldn't be sneaking out the house,
Yeah.
because I had been doing it for a long time. She didn't find out. So what she did is she ripped up the wig, she got a knife, and she kind of chased me outside in the
With the knife.
yeah. The neighbors
Oh
woke
my
up.
God.
It was just girl.
So do you feel like your reentry story of like everything you've been through has been hard because you weren't fully accepted the way you wanted to be accepted?
I do believe so.
Yeah.
And let me tell you that all my jail time, all my drug addiction time, I wish I could take back because and all those although at that moment I was like, I'm having the best time of my life. I learned a lot, like the movidas of people, how they are.
Yeah.
I learned how to hustle. I learned how to
Yeah.
survive. I learned not only the street smarts, but I also learned book smarts because I would
Yeah.
sit there and I would read along. And it's just that if I felt that now, transgender females or transgender people, LGBTQ, whatever. I'm sorry, because I don't know.
No, it's
I'm
okay.
not trying to be like
No, you're
smart
okay. You're
because I
okay.
don't know, girl. They keep adding letters to it, so I don't know. I'm like sorry. I don't mean to be funny, but it's just like I'm very, as you can tell by the makeup, I'm very old school. I don't even have a makeup on. I just have my little lipstick and my eyeliner and my lashes.
No, you're good.
Just
You're
very,
good.
very.
I don't know
like,
the whole letters, but you're good.
but yeah, but the lettering, it's I used to call it, like, with all respect to everybody, and please don't censor us. If you do, I don't mean it. They used to be like, oh girl, we're part of the alphabet community. I'm like, alphabet, what? She's like, LGBTQ plus.
Okay. You're like, okay, plus.
Okay,
All right,
plus,
see
all right,
you.
girl. So, but it's now they have more rights. In my time, I couldn't have done it. My reentry story is I did a lot of bad things because I wasn't allowed to be who I wanted to be.
Yeah.
So I found an outlet in being active in the streets, and I was active out here, and that's what hit my family hardest because
Because they didn't know which one. They didn't know if you were a girl or you wanted to be a boy and run the streets like all the other boys are doing it.
exactly. And so I'll be honest with you, when it came down to pulling some licks, I dressed up, and they knew. The people that I was active with knew.
Okay.
They partook in the activities because it was about making money.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hustle this vato and I'm gonna take his feria, and I need you to be there just in case he tries to get,
Yeah. I'm trying
You know
to
how
get
this
handsy
stuff goes.
and
Yeah.
so yeah, I know.
So yeah, and that's how, like, I guess it began that they accepted it. Because I pulled a lot of money in for my hood, girl.
Laughs.
I did. I did a lot of stuff. I did a lot of bad things, but you know what?
Not that she's proud of it, yeah.
I'm
Not that she's proud of it,
that
or
I'm
we're
proud of
laughing
it.
at
No,
it.
but
It's
I'm laughing
just
at
the fact of it, like the fact that it's uncommon. You get what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
uncommon, and I feel like
It was accepted
maybe
because
back then was different. Even now, I feel like it's very. I feel like a part of the world is okay with the with men going into women, right? Or women going into men. I don't know the whole situation,
oh, it's
but
hard.
I feel like now it's a little bit more accepting as how it was back then. But I
Big
feel like
time.
back then in the 80s, it was all about money.
Yeah.
It was the fast life and the money.
It's all about this because
So
crack had hit and speed was out there hitting the streets, girl. Those were the two main things: crack and speed.
and that
And
was
coke,
the way.
and that was the way. And it's like, and in Hollywood, you know how Hollywood is thriving.
Mm-hmm.
Hollywood, South Central, Jefferson Park, all these areas where people are active. Oh my God!
And I feel like maybe in the 80s, you could correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like maybe the transgender world was a little bit more in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Because it's Hollywood.
Yeah.
Like, let's be realistic. Fast life.
Yes.
Money, drugs. That's all you see out in Hollywood.
And you know what? And it's true. That's it. I believe that was the center of my beginning of my transgender journey because
That's what
you're
kind of
right.
made you.
Because of all, that's where I mean, through there is where I got the pills to grow boobs until my mom found out, and then I got punished. But it's okay, I still got them now. I got them done. I'll be honest with you, it was a very difficult journey because a lot of people don't understand.
So take me through, because now I'm being curious. So now I'm gonna pick your brain a little bit. Take me through the process of when you we know you were an active member now. What was it? When did they realize this is what you were doing? And how did that portray? Was it like, did you get a DP, or were you kind of like, oh, smack, now they know? Or how did that go about?
They called a meeting,
Okay.
and you know how things go down.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, like either you want out or you want this, and it'll be, but it's gonna be because,
What you're bringing in,
yeah, and because, you know,
or whoever was protecting you, type of. Yeah, I
Because
kind of
of
get
him-
what you're
because
trying
of
to
him.
say. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and since he was somebody, nobody fucked with me. Excuse me, messed with me.
No, you're okay. You're okay.
Messed
No,
with
you're
me.
worried.
Girl, last time the last podcast girl was like bleep 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 bleep, and I'm like bleep bleep.
No, you're okay. You're okay. You can cuss.
Okay, good. Fuck it then.
Yeah, you're good.
All right, then,
I'm just
fuck
working
it.
on my cussing, but you good.
Me
you
too,
good.
girl. No, mija, I am. I'm actually working on that too because this it looks better. You
Yeah.
know? It looks better. I love to say fucking shit and fucker and God damn it.
I love saying bad words. I can say a whole sentence is just bad words, but
Me too.
it looks more classy. I
See.
feel like it looks a little more. Oh, she demure.
Yeah, she has ella es de la alta sociedad. You know, she's a Sotomayor. She's a Sotomayor. So it was these people, and so I think that day
Uh-huh.
I didn't even feel a thing because
What were your thoughts going into it though? Were you like, this
I
is
was-
it?
I was
I'm
like,
gonna
God,
die.
I was like,
there.
I'm like,
That's it. Like, this is a
I
wrap
was
for
like,
me.
when they're like, we're gonna call a meeting and this day you need to be there, and I was like, fuck. Okay, and this day I showed up to the meeting and they're like, yeah, you know, there's a lot
So
of
this time when you would show up, right, or you would go kick it, you would be as the man.
yeah,
Okay.
but I would have like I didn't start shaving my hair until I was older, so I had like a
Okay.
little hair and
So
I
you
would-
had little.
little
Okay.
ponytail and so on. I looked feminine.
You
I
look
was
like
a man, but
Okay.
feminine.
Okay.
Like you could tell that there was some sugar in the tank.
She said some sugar in the tank.
But I looked.
I'ma take
I
that
was
one.
femininely. You know?
Okay,
I
yeah.
But I know how to throw down.
Okay.
And so I knew how to hold my own because I guess my mom was smart and she
Mm-hmm.
kind of figured that I would have to have that. So like when I was like around 6 or 7, she put me in karate and she put me in like
Okay.
all these like the park self-defense
Yeah,
classes.
yeah.
But that doesn't matter. I learned how to throw chingadazos in the
Yeah.
street, girl. That's where you learn.
Yeah.
And I
Definitely.
learned-
I'll second that.
I learned also from defending myself from my uncles and my cousins
Okay.
because they would always bully me. They were just they
That's what I was gonna ask you. When you were younger,
they all made fun of me. You're gonna trip out on this story. We were like I think like 13, and that's when I was like full blown like I am a girl. I'm gonna be a girl. And I would wear like lip gloss. Like back then we had these little cajitas así in the tins, the lip gloss, the flavored
the
one.
ones you have to
Yeah,
tap.
or the little one, the clear one. I forgot what they're called. And they're like
The little roller?
Yes. And so I would always walk around with that, and just like my little ponytail. And my uncles would always say something, or my cousins, and it's like they would always. They're like, okay, vamos a ir a Tijuana. Okay. Oh, are you going to Tijuana? Don't worry. All my cousins, oh, yes. Don't. So I guess everybody knew except for me. And they're like, when we're almost there, like we're like towards, like it says, I remember it had the people crossing like that. So, and it's just, we were almost there. It says, and they're like, este fin de semana, cabrones, se van a hacer hombres. And I was like, what do you mean? And
So they planned this whole thing to take you out there so that you like convince you
that I'm not
that
who I
you're
was.
not that.
And they took me to I guess now it's called Tokyo's Gentlemen's Club, but it used to be called Adelitas.
Okay.
And you walk into Adelitas and it's like a old school bar, right? But it's like long hall.
Uh-huh.
And you have like the lights and you have all these women just standing there, prostitutes,
Yeah.
full time. I'm not saying that's a bad industry because people will do what they have to do.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't knock it. you will do what you have to do to eat.
Yeah.
Or to provide
To
for who.
survive.
Yep.
Yeah. Survival mode.
And so they're like, oh, and my tío's like, ahora sí, cabrones, escojan. And I was just like, oh my fucking God. And I was just like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do?
Oh my God.
And so I had this anxiety. I swear to God, I almost had an anxiety attack. And I started like, my palms started sweating. And I'm like, what am I going to do? What the fuck am I going to do? You know? They're going to beat my ass. Because they're like, if you don't, take...
They were there to prove a point that you're not a woman. You're going to be a man today.
And then I guess one of them saw that my uncle was like, he grabbed me and he hit me hard. He's like, because everyone else had picked the girl and they were already gone. And I was the only one. And he's like, pick one or I'll pick one for you. I go, I don't want one. And then I guess the girl, and she was about like maybe 19, 20, 18, 19, 20, around there. And she comes over and she went like that to my tío, no seas tan malo, bravo.
Yeah.
Yo me lo llevo. And she took me by the hand. We went to the room, and then she locked the door, and she sat me on the bed, and she says, "You don't have to do this."
Aww.
She said, "You don't have to do this. I seen you guys the moment you walked in, and you don't belong here." And she's
so
like,
did she lie to your uncle?
Yes,
and tell your uncle?
it's so funny.
My God.
It's so funny.
That's what I wanted to know. I was like, did she lie to your uncle and tell your uncle?
So she went and got me some sabritas and a coca. And then we sat there the whole like half hour and talking. And, she's like, good luck on your journey and stuff. And then like then they're coming along and she's like, you just do what I say. And then she like took my shirt off. She like did my hair and she started moaning and she did the bed all just like in chingas. And then she's all here. She left my belt like unbuckled and then
she played out the whole scene for you.
She did. Man, God bless her. God bless her, whoever she was, and she was my angel that day because
you knew there was no way out.
There was no way out, and my uncles were very abusive because they didn't want me. They didn't let me be who I wanted to be, and so being around them, I had to learn how to fight, and I would fight back.
Yeah,
I wouldn't let myself.
Yeah,
and then when I started getting like 12, 13, and daba chingazos para atrás, and they're like, "Oh, you think you can fuck me up? Fucking do this. Well, fuck it, let's do it then."
Yeah.
And then I was
Te porabas al tiro.
I'm seeing, and they're like, yeah, you bitch. And así me decían, pinche vieja. Yo no le pego a las viejas, pinche joto. I'm like, okay. And I'll be like, whatever. I didn't care. Because it's so funny, those same uncles and cousins, 20-something years later now, hit me up on Facebook. And because I have a few cousins, that I was tight with. And are hitting me up, hey, mamacita, la, 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 I see that I was like, ew, don't you know who I am? I'm like, you're fucking nasty. And then I tell them who I am, and they're like, pinche joto. And I'm like,
they throw it back
I'm
at
like,
your face,
pinche joto too, because you hit me up.
Yeah.
So now who's the faggot? You hit me up. You hit me up. Like I told this one dude,
You're like, you're looking for me. I'm not looking for you.
Exactly. That's the part is being, even if you look like a girl, it's like, I always told people, I was always very honest,
Yeah.
Because I felt that I needed to keep it honest.
So can I ask you something? It might be a little personal.
No,
and if you don't want to, okay.
Girl, you can,
go ahead.
I'll show you. No, I got pictures. I know OnlyFans.
Oh, shit.
Yes, ma'am. College is very expensive.
I think this is a red flag. I should start my thing. No,
I think you should. You have beautiful feet.
Thank you.
Girl,
I'm like,
them little cute feet, honey, stepping on cake and bologna sandwiches, and them fat ugly men will pay for it. Trust me.
Blanco starts an OnlyFans of just feet.
Yes, right.
Do you where do you think that feeling of I'm a girl came from? Like down to your core? Because I know that people are gonna be like, no, God made us one way, we're this way, and you're that way. What do you think? Did something happen to you where...
something happened to me after.
After.
I embraced my my inner self, like I said, like I was 4. Like I was
You were
4.
4.
I remember playing with my cousin, and the funny thing is that she turned out to be a boy,
Oh, wow.
and her parents took it really hard because her dad was the one who was so hard on me my whole life, and it's
So
like,
both of you were like kind of the outcast.
yeah. But she was always, oh, it's okay for a girl to be a tomboy, but it's not okay for a boy to be a sissy. It's not okay for a boy to be feminine. That's what they call us, a sissy. A
Sissies, yeah. Marica.
Marica, chirujo. You know, and it's like, and my uncles, they loved it. The active ones, because I had paisa and girl, my family was big. And I feel that once everything came out and people were put in their place, and everyone just went their separate ways. And it's because how dare you tell me how I can live my life? And no, it didn't happen that way. A lot of people would think that, oh, it's because you were molested. Or it's because
Yeah.
To be honest with you, before I started my transition, there's actually a test that they do. It's a DNA, what is it? DNA hormonal panel. So it's
Okay.
like,
Check.
I have more estrogen in my body than I did testosterone.
Oh, wow.
So it's funny because I was born. They found out like, I was born XXY chromosome, which is why I always had little boobs. I always had and I hadn't. My genitalia was different.
Okay.
So it was okay. That explains. So it's not because it's something else. It's just, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get you. I get what you're saying.
I wasn't born.
You were more towards your feminine
Yes.
side than your male side.
Yeah. And
Wow.
that's because I wanted to make sure because everybody kept fucking with my head. And they're like, no, it's in your head. It's in your head. I'm like, no, it's not in my head. I have always felt this way. I am a girl. I'm a woman. I may not be able to have children, but I can feel, I can nurture. I do this. I can be a strong person. I can help other mujeres. Why? Because I've been through everything. And to me, it was more of embracing who I was back then that made me powerful now. Because at that young age, during my era, it would have been
Would
a
have
wrap.
never, yeah.
It would have never happened. Nowadays, children are being transitioned as young as 4,
Well,
5.
yeah, because I mean, now you see, these shows where you have moms putting their kids in pageants, and I think it's opened a whole other conversation of what it is that people are going through. That's why I asked, because you are the first person I meet that.
Really?
Yes, you are.
Am I very possible?
Yes, you very
you
are.
couldn't even tell. Huh? You couldn't even tell until
No,
I
you
talk.
can't tell unless
Until I
you
talk.
tell. No, unless you have a conversation with
Yeah.
you and you deep down and get to the root of it. Like I said, I don't know much about the whatever letters that they are. No offense to anyone, but I've never really had conversations like this, so it made me interested to know, like, was this something that happened to you when you were younger, but you're saying, like, I didn't even know they had tests for that,
Yeah,
where they could tell you.
They can tell you. It's a panel. It's a hormone panel, and it
And
tells
how
you.
old were you when you got that panel
I was
done?
like around 5 or 6.
Oh, wow.
5 or 6, because my mom kept getting mad, and then I told my mom, I'm a girl. I'm a girl. I'm a girl.
So since you were 4 till now, you've been
Mom,
certain, like, this
I've always
is what
this
it
who I
is.
am, and what I is. I used to play with my mom.
So how was that, like, how did that go about, like, your relationships? Like, did you have a relationship when you were pretending to be a boy? Did you have relationships with girls to just kind of, like,
Yeah.
fake
Yeah.
the funk?
Yeah, when I was I grew up. Those teenage years, I grew them up with my boyfriend,
Okay.
and we both had girlfriends that we never were
Intimate with?
intimate with, but they were there,
Okay.
and it's just like
They were the
just,
picture.
Yeah, it's always the tapar el ojo.
Yeah.
But after he passed away, I'm trying to word it right. After he passed away, I didn't see a point of me being active anymore.
Okay.
And I kind of like went back into the shadows. And then my homegirl Seria calls me.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, "Hey, phone." She's like, "They're looking for you. You gotta come talk to them." And I'm like, "Okay." And they're like,
So at this point, when you got a phone call to come down and talk to who you needed to talk to, what were you? How did you look?
I was still like very feminine. Like,
Okay, so you had
but then
hair.
I had hair.
Mm-hmm.
But I was feminine, but I was like very, like,
Still manly.
yeah. I would wear my Dickies with my,
Okay.
my pro gloves.
Okay.
And I would just be like,
A
very
tomboy.
like a
You were
tomboy.
like a tomboy.
I look like a tomboy, very así. And so
I have my days when I look like a tomboy.
oh, you're pretty. You're beautiful,
you.
girl.
Thank you
look like
so
just.
much.
They're like, "Ay, va ese joto."
Oh, no.
I would have
Don't
like,
say
era,
that.
ya no soy. Ya no soy. The past tense.
Sorry, guys. I'm a little sick.
Sorry.
Uh-huh.
But going back to what you were saying is it within those people, I got that phone call and I got to where I needed to go, and they're like, "Okay, well, so and so's not here no more. Are you gonna be active?
Where do you stand at now?
Where do you stand?" I'm like, "Yeah, but I have to be, I'll come and I'll be here when I need to, but that's when I kind of like focus. Okay, I kind of want to go to school and do well.
So how old were you around this age?
I was around 15 because I was still going back and
okay.
forth.
Yeah,
it
you were
was
still
hard,
going
girl,
back.
because I would stay the weekend at Lisa's, and then we would take the bus together to class on Mondays.
Oh, damn.
So Friday,
You were
Saturday,
on the
Sunday,
bus.
I was on a mission, getting all drunk and getting dressed up and doing my little show at the arena, being who I was, free over here, pulling licks, banging, doing what I had, doing the most, and pulling
Doing
in
the
my
most
work.
with the hostess.
Yeah, that's right. Pulling in the work and doing what I had to do, and then Monday morning go back. But then when he was gone, it was like I was 15 already, and this day I was about to be. I was gonna be. I was gonna be 16, and I was like, well, to be active, but my jefita was getting sick, and it's true. My mom started getting congestive heart failure.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she had her first this day. She had a stroke and at work she fainted.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, my mom was she worked first she was a campesina.
Okay.
And she worked in the pizca, and then she worked in the record industry where they used to make the 18-inch. And then
The plates and stuff?
Yes, and then she started working in aerospace industry where they make parts for airplanes. And she worked there for almost 30 years. And then,
So when he passed away, do you feel like that was you didn't feel safe at some point?
I didn't actually, and I didn't because there was always somebody there that
Would speak up for you.
yeah, and so I wouldn't have to. But it's like most of them were okay with it. It was just like maybe like let's say como si fueran unos días that were okay with it. Maybe 12, 14 would be against it, and so the other 4 they kind of like.
It would go back and forth.
No, it go back and forth. But the funny part about it is that the ones that were for it were the ones who had palabra.
Oh, okay.
So they couldn't say shit.
Yeah.
So they couldn't say shit. They had palabra. Or they had some kind of ranking, so they couldn't say nothing. And they kept they kept their mouth shut. They wouldn't say nothing. And it's so funny because even nowadays, like I'll talk to some of them and they're like, hey, we'll chop it up, and they're like, "I remember back then, fucking crazy, huh?"
I wasn't allowed, yeah.
And they're like, "Yeah, and like one of my homeboys, like, man, he goes, I'm sorry, we treated you so bad." He's like, "But you look beautiful, He goes, "I have a daughter that's been a boy now."
Oh, wow.
I was like, "Yeah."
Because life happens. I feel like life happens. People experience things. Things happen, and sometimes we judge people without even knowing. Like, who am I to judge you? You get me? Yeah. Like, I'm nobody to judge you. That is a conversation you gotta take whenever we up in heaven,
Yeah.
And who would
Whoever
I be? Because then when I get up there, he's gonna be, well, why are you judging someone else? It's gonna be more to me of having to explain myself. So I just go without judge, Well, I at least try to go without judge because it's better. Like, I don't want to if I start judging you, I'm gonna sit here and be miserable because I'm judging the whole wide world based off what I want them to portray as what I want them to be.
And I'll be honest with you, this whole being active and everything, when he was gone, and so then I was like, yeah, I'm still gonna be here, but this is what's going on at home.
So you were kind of scared then to go to that meeting because you didn't have his protection.
I didn't have his protection anymore.
You felt like scared. Did you feel like his word was not gonna was not gonna get carried on?
And yeah, I did. And because he did so much for that hood, and he was very active, and he was somebody.
Yeah.
His word did carry out where nobody fuck with me.
Okay.
I would get calentadas here and there.
Yeah.
But it would be because it's like, I'm all about making money.
Yeah.
And so, like, if I'm not telling you, it's probably because I'm going to surprise you. I'm going to bring in that money. I'm going to show you my palabra. I'm going to show you I'm a hustler. I'm going to show you I can do this. That even though
I'm not just sitting here pretty.
No, I'm not sitting here just to be called a chiruco or this and that. I'm going to bring in some feria. I'm going to show you that I can do this. That besides whatever you think about me. And one time they're like, hey, go beat up that fool. Some gay boy. I was like, yeah, okay. And I beat his ass so hard. They're like, hey, go beat up that man.
So do you feel like at some point you were like in a trial?
Yeah.
It was like they were testing you.
They were testing me, girl. And they made me beat up people, rob them. And
the street life.
They didn't make me. I did.
You chose.
I chose to do it.
And I don't mean like they made you do it. I mean like they wanted to see where your feet were at.
Yeah, they want you to prove yourself. Because in the streets,
because that's all you got to do is you got to prove yourself. Yes.
It's all about your palabra. This is gold. This isn't gold in this. Oh, yeah, it is. But this is the most number one thing that is gold.
Yeah, it's your most loyalty weapon that you have in the streets. Is your word, your word. And man, it's a lot.
It was scary, girl, because I did show up. And then I me la puse un poquito brava. And I was like, I go, well, why? He's gone. So I understand that he's gone. But it's because in my mind it wasn't clicking.
That
he was gone. I'm like, so what? Okay, so are we going to fucking make money or what? Am I going to get my ass beat?
Like, what are we doing? You jumping me out? Or do I still stay here?
Beating me fucking senseless till, like, hanging on to life? Because that's what I came.
That's what you,
I went there prepared to die. I went there prepared to die because I had seen it done before.
Yeah.
Being in that lifestyle, you see everything.
Yeah.
So I went there, I kissed my mom, and I'll be back, Mom.
You were ready.
I was ready.
You were ready for the outcome.
Deme su bendición. Just like the day when she died. I
you asked for her blessing?
Gate. I closed the gate and I went back in and she gave me her blessing. And I was like, I'll be back, Mom. She's like, algo traes. And she's like, ya tengo toda la semana con ese dolor aquí. She goes, don't go out. Don't go out. Don't go out. Every time she told me don't go out, something would happen.
Oh, wow.
Something would happen.
That intuition type of thing.
This time it happened where I had to fight.
Yeah.
I had to show my strength, and it's okay because I didn't get beat up a lot.
Yeah.
So you swing and you get swung.
Yeah. No, it's true.
So there's a little bit of damage. A little makeup won't hurt.
Yeah.
But it's I really went there prepared to die because I was like,
he's not here.
He's not here.
His word don't count no more.
Even though I've done all this and
it was like what, like 4 years that he was, so you were well set where you were at, and so imagine just having that ripped off of you. It's just like what happens now,
especially in that lifestyle, because
especially in that lifestyle,
you're like a sitting sheep, waiting for the wolf to come get you.
No, that's very true,
because it's like, okay, what do we do? And see, the thing about it is that I'm so glad that the person that stepped up was somebody that knew that I made a lot of money for
them.
And he's like, you know what? So just throw down with so-and-so. And you throw down with so-and-so after. Like 3 people.
Lined it up your fades.
And I was like, okay.
So it was like you were still feminine, like you were still a femme, but you were still like, whatever you need me to do. Who's gonna take the beat?
Yeah, I'll fuck them up. Tell me,
Because from what I'm taking from you, Alexis, it's like this whole interview, word is bond, and I know that, you know that, and I think our backgrounds and the people we know also know that, you know. So I feel like to you it didn't matter. I'm here to prove something, and
Yep.
if I gotta prove it by beating somebody up, getting down, getting jumped, it's all right, because at least I can walk away and you guys will have it. At least she got down.
Yeah.
At least she still got down for her stuff.
Yeah.
We might not accept it, we might not appreciate it, but hey, she didn't walk out like no sissy. So he passed away. You felt protected till he passed away. No, you still feel protected because you are being protected.
Yeah.
You're still good with your people. How long after he passed away did you date someone else? Did you take your time?
I took my time. It was very hard to find somebody that was accepting.
Yeah.
Because most of the guys that where I was attracted to were like straight guys.
Yeah.
So some of the guys that were straight were okay because I look feminine.
Yeah.
And it was just I became very promiscuous.
Okay.
Put it to you that way. You wanted it, I gave it to you.
Okay.
You had money, you got it. Because that was my mode.
Yeah.
And so then now, I had 2 relationships that were real serious. I ended one about exactly a year ago. Kai knew because Kai's cool. I love him because he was my case manager first and during the intake, he was understanding, and I told him, and since then we had we had a bonding.
Yeah.
Like, so, and to me, I was able to tell him everything. So it became very bad relationship where it's like verbally abusing each other.
Yeah, relationships like that do not work.
No, he drank a lot. He was a paisa. It took one time, girl, for him to put his hands on me.
And that was it.
And I was like, you little fucking smurf. Because he was only like 5'5", and I'm like, you little fucking smurf. And I started swinging, girl, and I started bam, bam, bam. I fucking broke my nail. I'm like, I used all the strength that I could because I don't have the same strength I used to. After all the hormones and I caught in the operation.
The transition.
I don't have the same testosterone. I can't open certain things like I used to.
Yeah.
So anyways, he left, and I kicked him out. He went to Mexico, and during that whole year, during the next 8 months. Well, the first 2 months I was very destructive. I was drinking a lot.
You were sad. You were spiraling. I was spiraling. I spiraled too after my relationship.
Really bad, girl, because it was like 7 years of my life.
Yeah.
That's 7 years, and it's like I had to deal with
all over again.
All over again. And so you know what I did? I said, fuck this. And I wanted to do something. And I'm going, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to work with people that have come home from prison. What better way? I had a dream that night, and I was drunk. And I woke up the next day, and I remember the dream was where my mom was like in front of a jail. And she's you're not going to stay here, but you're going to work with them.
Nice.
And I was like, and then I woke up, and I was like, okay. I'm like, fuck it. What better way than for me to get enrolled in school? I'm like, fuck, I don't have a high school diploma. How the hell am I going to get into college, right? So I went to West LA College. I hit Dr. Lauren Manyweather up. All summer up. Where I want to be a rising scholar. I want to do this. I want to do that. And so September around came, actually a year ago. So September came around. I had my first class on September the 15th, the day after my birthday. And that's the day that Playa Vista Jobs went to go see us and started the program there. And for the next 6 months, I was able to thank you guys at Playa Vista Jobs for the stipend, for helping me, for allowing me to be the better person that I can be, because the stipend helped me to manage my court fees, to get to and from.
Yeah.
You know, because I didn't have a dependable transportation. Now I do, thank God. But PV Jobs is awesome. It helped a lot of people out.
Yeah.
It did, and I just I embrace that. You know, the fact that you guys were there. So it's like, oh my God, because of you guys through the Hatch program with Volunteers of America, one of the girls I was able to. She's a domestic violence. I go, but he only beat me up one time. I go, yo me lo chingué, él no él a
Yeah,
mí, 'cause he
yeah,
only
yeah. I
hit
think
me.
he needs to be in the class
Yeah,
instead of
yeah,
me
'cause
taking the
But
class.
he hit me. He hit. Well, you know what? It's like any person. You hit me, and I'm gonna hit you back.
Yeah.
But the thing is that finally I was so tired of being promiscuous, and I went and I enrolled to school, and to this day those were my first classes. I took anger management, habits for success, and then from there it led on to more classes, and I was like, you know what? I got the hang of this. I want to take credit courses.
Yeah.
My first credit course semester was on last spring. I finished with a 3.5. I had 12
Congrats.
units. Summer semester, I had 9 units. I finished with a 4.0. So I
Nice.
have a 4.0 all around. I go to West Lake College. I want to give back to the people. I want to, there's so many people that, go through the system that they don't know that there's programs, and then the fucking programs they have are so shitty.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Father Greg. You know, your homeboy industries is beautiful. I love you, Father Greg, whatever. You can bleep me out, but they're like ARC. They expect you to jump through hoops. And I understand. If it's my fucking money, I don't want you to just be like, give it out to you.
Just giving it out, yeah.
But they have to understand that these men come home with nothing.
Nothing.
So if you're getting all this fucking grant money, cut them a few $100, get them enrolled. Once they see that you're giving him the money, they're going to come because they want to work. They have the ganas. And once you get them in there, okay, hey, we got this program for you. We can train you, and you can be this and we can that. See, I like to network. And so right now, I should be graduating next year, and I now want to transfer to Cal State LA. I'm a rising scholar.
A rising
So
scholar.
For those who don't know, the Rising Scholar
I want to be a
program,
rising scholar too now.
it's a program for those who were, previously incarcerated. It gives people basic life skills, and it showed me how to think again. My critical thinking that I had sleeping because I had a criminal mind that was awake.
Yeah.
And so I had to fix my mindset. And I want to do reentry counseling. I want to help either the youth that are at risk or become a DOR, because there's so many people, our gente are being killed, our gente are going back. Let's stop the recidivism.
Yeah.
I am very happy in my relationship. I met him at school. He is got an awesome.
Look at you all smiling. Do I need to go to school to meet someone?
Yeah, I think you guys
Just
need
kidding.
to interview him. He did a 25-year stretch when
Wow.
he was 18. When he turned 18, he did it because of the laws changing. His reentry
He was
story is
able to
awesome
come
because
home.
we're like, did you do your homework? Kind of. Well, what you waiting for? Let's get on the. Did you? I'm doing kind of. When's your assignment due? Tomorrow? When's yours
It's
tomorrow?
like you guys help each other. You guys are benefiting from each
So
other.
we pushed each other, and it's like he came out in December. He's about to finish his program. It took him 6-7 months to finish a film production program, which it took other guys 2 years.
Wow.
I guess they were milking the
So
fast.
he likes it. So he likes it.
He likes it. He's gonna be a grip. It's very hard, but I will tell you this much: he stayed out of trouble. We live together now. I met him at school, and it's if we can help people come home, if we can stop the recidivism, if we can,
Break the chain, break the
Yes.
cycle, break the trauma, heal from our trauma.
I want to help those men that
Heal.
come home learn how to deal with what's going on at home.
Yeah.
Learn how to deal with how they're feeling and not let that get to that person.
Yeah. Because I feel like once we're hit with trauma, it's easy to carry out that trauma.
Oh, yeah.
So that when new trauma, new hurt comes, we just go back to our old habits instead of breaking from those old habits.
Correct.
So I feel like learning, teaching women, men how to break the cycle so you don't repeat the same thing and go back to jail or end up in prison. End up in prison or end up dead. Break the cycle. When will the cycle break? And I feel like there's not a lot of resources for those type of for our community, you know, for people that have been in prison and are going through stuff like that. I like that you said that because it is true. And maybe programs, we need more resources.
Yeah.
More resource where, hey, I'm learning how to break the chain. I broke the chain. Let me teach you the way of breaking the chain so you do better and you don't go back to what you once learned. Like you said earlier, you had to change your thought process.
Yeah.
Because when you're in survival mode and you're in defense mode, all you know is bad. You don't know how to break the cycle in that and be good now. It's like it's like teaching a baby how to walk all over again.
All over again.
You could be 30, 40, 50 and you barely learn. I'm barely 30 and I'm learning barely how to break the chain, break the cycle to do better, you know, and not return back to where I was once at.
Because
So
it's always it's always comforting to go back to what you know.
yeah.
Because that's our fixed mindset. But if we say, I'm going to break this, then our growth mindset is that we can do this, we can do that. I am definitely going to get my high school diploma. I already passed 2 of the GED tests.
Yes.
I passed
She's
my
proclaiming it.
yes, I passed my GED on the science part and I passed the English part. So now I got to do is history and language arts.
Nice. Those were my 2 topics in high school.
Yeah,
So
those are like I'm studying for that one. A year ago, it took me a year to finish two of them, and I have sociology. I want to do reentry. I want to bring. There's so many people that need to come home. They're just sitting there.
agree.
They're sitting there
agree.
that
You want to be an advocate for it.
that want to come home. Like my man's story, like he was just a driver.
Oh wow.
He was just a driver, but he did 18, and he was in the shoe.
Oh wow. So you think with your own story, hearing other people's story just connects you more to wanting to be part of the reentry movement to
Yes.
help others?
Yes.
That's good.
Definitely. And it's like, and people are like, well, why don't you help women out? I go, yeah, there's women. There's a lot of, there's more programs for women than there is for men. Because women come home and they're like, there's like turning point. And then there's.
I feel like women have a little bit more of a support system than it is for men. Men to, I think men tend to break that cycle of their own support though.
Yeah, they do.
You know, so.
And so like, I feel that I'm at a point in my life where it took me almost 50 years to, it did take me 50 years to feel complete, to finally say I'm proud of myself. Because I fucking got a 4.0 in college without a fucking high school diploma yet. I'm halfway there. 2 more classes, 2 more diplomas to go, 2 more tests to go. But it's like, it's so funny because I never would have imagined myself like going back to school. I was happy in the relationship that I used to have, being a housewife, cooking, cleaning, taking care of it, doing nothing, getting my money the way I needed to, and, doing my little card readings, my little limpias, and then that was my hustle because I didn't go back to doing criminal activity.
Yeah.
So I embraced my spiritual side that I always had. And so then I was like, okay, I can make money this way, and it's legitimate. And then I met Juan Carlos, and then this is just everything went
Her
great.
big old smile. She in love. I want to be in love again.
It's 'cause you know what? He's been there. Like this is who I'm gonna be with for the rest of my
That's
life.
good. That's good. That makes me very happy to hear that, you had such a hard childhood. You had to fake for so long. I could definitely see just from meeting you, hearing your story, you're doing great. And I don't know if people tell you that, but you're doing great. I feel like you have a good head over your shoulders. You know where you want to be, where you're going. And that makes me happy to know that you decided to do what you wanted.
Yes.
Not what other people wanted you to do, but what you wanted.
Yeah.
And that gets people far in life. Whether you go through trials and errors and you fall face down and have to go through the whole planet or go against everything of everyone with everything and going against what everyone wants you to do, it's only gonna make you stronger, and it's only gonna make you go further in life because you know what's best for yourself. So, with that being said, is there anything else you want to tell our public
I
before
wanted
we
to
wrap
say
it up?
that I loved it. It was a pleasure being here. Apply Vista Jobs, I'm sorry, you guys are part of PV Jobs, right?
Yeah.
Okay, no one's paying me to promote them. Okay, I just want to make that clear. Kai, thank you so much for being a great case manager. Without your guidance, I probably wouldn't have stayed in school because he was always like, everything cool, you good, and he would hit up on me, like, hey, you good, everything good, just to make sure I was doing all right.
Yeah.
And he was one of the main support systems at Dr. Manyweather, Rising Scholars Network. My man Juan Carlos, and definitely West LA College. My mom who's in heaven. Everybody, you can do it.
You
Get
guys
it
can do
together.
it.
You only got one chance.
That is true. Very true.
And that's it.
That's
Thank you
it.
so much.
Okay. No, you're welcome. Thank you for coming, hanging out with us. It was
Anytime.
a pleasure. We're gonna end it up here, guys. Thank you guys for watching another episode with Real Talk with Blanco, and we're out. Bye.
Thank you.